go. I'm going to take a moment to silence devices. Set up for our grounding. We're just going to find a comfortable seated position. So I like to sit cross-legged on the ground. But if you're sitting on a chair or what have you, that's all great too. So I just want to sit with my chest over heart and head, rather, chest over hips and head over heart. Like there's a string pulling you up from the crown of your head towards the sky. Hands come to rest on the lap, either palms down to ground down, or palms up to give and receive energy. If you feel you got a little extra to give today. We'll allow the eyes to close if that's comfortable for you. If not, a soft gaze to the ground before you is just great as well. We'll start with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose, shoulders rise up towards the ears, and out through the mouth with an audible sigh, the shoulders drop down by the sides. Returning to your normal breath. We'll just take a moment here to arrive. Let go of everything that came before and everything that's to come up after. And just become present to yourself here in this space. Here in this moment. And beginning to allow sounds into your awareness. Perhaps the sound of traffic passing out the window. The rumbling of a radiator. Or the shuffling of roommates or pets. Allowing all sounds in all part of this moment, this experience. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. And feel the weight where your body makes contact with the ground below you. The weight of your hands on your lap. And begin to scan your body from head down towards toes. Checking in for any places of tightness or sensitivity, any restlessness or fidgeting. You're just taking a note to work into those spaces that call out for your attention throughout your practice here today. And we'll shift that awareness from the body, Annamaya Kosha, up to the energetic level, Pranamaya Kosha. Notice where you're at in this moment on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being exhausted, fatigued, ready to crawl into bed. 10 being so full of energy it's hard to sit still. And shifting the attention up to the breath. No need to change it, just observe inhalations, exhalations, and whatever space in between. And shifting the awareness up from the breath to the mind, Manomaya Kosha. Allowing thoughts and feelings to arise, but no need to engage. Allow yourself to observe these thoughts and feelings from a distance, like clouds passing in the sky. Just notice, what are the quality of the thoughts today? Do they have a positive or a negative tilt to them? Are they ruminating on the past or attempting to predict the future? Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just something to notice. And we'll bring the attention back down to the breath. This time, actively expanding the breath, in and out through the nose if that's available. Every inhale sips in a little more air. And every exhale lets something more go. Inhales, fill belly like a balloon expanding, making space for the diaphragm to drop, the lungs to expand. Every exhale lets out more air, lets something more go. Belly button pulls in and up towards the spine, using some muscles to actually contract and squeeze out all the air. The face is relaxed. There's space between top and bottom teeth as the jaw hangs heavy. Tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. Unfurrow the eyebrows. We'll begin our equal parts breathing. As you're inhaling, bringing a count to the breath. Just internally in your head, counting until you get to the top of your breath, until there's no space for any more air to come in. When you get there, whatever number it might be, 4, 7, 17, match the pace of the exhalation to that number. So 14-second inhale, 14-second exhale. And if the mind wanders, bring it back to the breath, back to the counting. And the next time you exhale, no rush to get there. Just release any counting and effort from this breathing practice. Returning to a natural pace. We'll bring our hands to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra. And consider here setting an intention or a dedication for your practice. Whatever you're dedicating this next hour or so to. And we'll seal that intention with the sound of Om. You're invited to chant with me. First, a cleansing breath. Allow your hands to release to your lap, chin drops towards chest, and let me get the dogs back in because someone left them out. Yeah, I hear you, baby girl. Alright. Crisis averted. So we're just going to let the head roll over, down to the chin drops towards chest, and we'll let the right ear roll over towards the right shoulder. Allowing chin to roll down through chest and left ear towards left shoulder. Just letting the head rock side to side, just beginning to open up that space in the upper back. Trapezius muscles. The next time the head rolls through center, we'll bring it up to neutral and roll the shoulders forward. We'll roll the shoulders back. Like shoulders come to stillness. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, we'll bend over to the right. Right hand releases down, left arm reaches over. Left hip glued to the ground. Inhale, back up through center. And exhale to the left. Following your breath in to rise and out to bend. Once more to each side, just beginning to calibrate the speed of your body to the length of your breath. Next time you're up through center, take a deep breath in, and exhale, we twist to the right. Left hand lands on right knee, right shoulder pulls back behind you, opening the chest to the side wall. And inhale, back up through center. We'll bend the elbows, hands come about ear height. Just give the hands a wave. Just begin to warm up the wrists and the hands a bit before putting any weight on them. Then drop the hands down, fingers wiggle from side to side. Palms flip towards the skies, so my fingers are pressing back as far as they can, fingers spread wide. And once again, rotate the palms. Shake off water, nice and gentle. We'll let the legs come out in front. Spread and scrunch the toes. Roll out the ankles. Covered. Here. Okay, one more day. Rolling out the ankles. Just making out the lower legs. Bend in the knees, feet come flat on the ground nice and wide. Just allow the knees to drop side to side. Just allowing the hips to wake up, bringing a little movement into that area of the body. We'll drop the knees over to the right. Coming to tabletop pose. I've lost my mat, guys. Alright. Hands under shoulders, knees below hips. Like that. Well, inhale, belly drops, chest and hips rise for cow pose. And exhale, rounding in the spine, chin tucks towards chest for cat. Allowing the breath in to rise and out to round. Following your own breath pace here. We'll meet back at center with a flat back. Chat over. Then the right leg reaches up and back behind you, not onto a couch. There we go. And it's just straight back. Without dipping in the lower back, keep length in the spine. Hips square to one another. And left arm sweeps forward for extended tabletop pose. I'm still pressing the ground away with my right shoulder, not letting myself sink in. Deep breath in, reaching long for opposite ends of the room. And exhale, curl it in, rounding in the spine like cat pose. Lift the belly out of the way to bring elbow towards knee, knee towards elbow. Inhale, extends you long, reaching for opposite ends of the room. Exhale, curl it in, lifting the belly out of the way for the rounding. One more time like that. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling to curl. Next time you lengthen through extended tabletop pose, we'll bend in the right knee. Left arm, like a backstroke, reaches back and grabs the pinky side edge of the foot. So my palm is facing out towards the edge of the mat. Foot grabs. And then as the foot kicks into the hand, I allow this left shoulder to be pulled open, chest opening. So I'm in a twisted tabletop balance. Got one full breath here. And then gently release, avoiding the slingshot. Extended, hand comes down, knee comes down. Left leg reaches up and back behind you. Right hand reaches forward. Extended tabletop pose. Checking in with your lower back that it's not sinking in. And that your hips are square. So I'm not stacking left hip over right. They're the same distance from the ground below. Left shoulder is pressing the ground away, staying active. Deep breath in here, reaching long. Exhale, curl it in, lifting the belly out of the way, elbow towards knee, knee towards elbow. Inhale to extend. Exhale to curl it in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. And once more, extend. Then the left knee bends, foot comes in towards the glutes. Backstroke with the right hand to reach for the pinky side edge of the foot. So it's like you're doing a thumbs up towards the sky. Kick the foot into the hand, twist the chest open. Or rather, twist the spine and open the chest. So the tension in this is what's going to hold you in it. So the harder you kick and the harder you grab onto the foot, the more stable the posture will be. Just one more deep breath here. And we'll release with control, avoiding the slingshot, back through extended tabletop pose. Hand comes down, knee comes down. Toes tuck under. Set the hips back onto the heels and reach it forward, sinking chest and head towards the ground. If your forehead does reach the ground or a block, you can give your head a little rock side to the side, a little forehead massage. And I'm just pressing my hands into the ground so hard that my elbows stay lifted. And bring it back up to tabletop pose. Right foot steps up between the hands. Left foot steps up between the hands. Heel toe the feet out towards the edges of the mat. We'll just bend and extend the legs. You do one and then the other. And then letting yourself come back to the center and give the head a nod. Yes. Give it a shake. No. And you can grab opposite elbows with the hands to create a little frame for your head for ragdoll here. Giving your body a sway whichever way feels good to it in this first major forward fold. And we'll release the hands from the elbows, heel toe the feet in towards one another. Big toes touch, a little space between the heels so the ankles don't knock together. And then inhale to a halfway lift, legs straight. Crown of the head towards the front of the room, tailbone towards the back. Deep breath in. Exhale, fold. And the inhale rolls you up slowly, one vertebra at a time, starting at the base of your spine. Heavy head, heavy arms. Arms sweep up when you get there. Just working at the top. And exhale to heart center. Yeah, there we go. So we'll turn to face one another actually here. Arms sweep up overhead, fingers interlace, index fingers release in steeple pose. So it's like I'm holding my own hand and I just let the pinkies come out. Cool. Arms are straight, triceps by the ears, and give a little tuck to the hips. So instead of arching out like that, I just lengthen the spine, just like in our tabletop pose. Deep breath in. And exhale, bend over to the right, hips press out to the left to counterbalance, making a crescent moon shape in the body. So breathing at the whole left side body, not letting the right knee bend.
back up through center, and exhale, bend over to the left. So I'm pressing my hips out to the right to counterbalance. My arms are straight, they're pulled back behind the ears. My left shoulder is pulling back just naturally, but I want to press it forward instead to keep the chest kind of open towards, not the ceiling exactly, but at least the wall in front of you. Don't let it dip down or cave in. Another deep breath here. We'll bring it back up through center and take a giant step out. Heels come in, toes come out for star pose, thumbs up towards the sky, but the whole hands are open. So we're reaching in 5 directions. So it's like you're reaching through your fingers, you're pressing down through your feet, and the crown of your head is reaching towards the sky. Deep breath in. And exhale, bend in the knees, bend in the elbows for goddess pose, Vrksasana. So I'm keeping my chest over my hips, trying to get my knees over my ankles. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together like I'm holding a pencil between them. Full breath here. Then back through star pose just for a moment. The right toes stay facing the short end of the mat. The left toes turn to face the long end of the mat. Reaching forward, pop your hips out to the left. Reach, reach, reach like your fingers are going to touch that side wall. And then drop the right hand. Left arm reaches up towards the sky for Vrksasana, triangle pose. So you can see this couch is really unfortunate. That's okay. So we're stacking shoulders on top of one another. The bottom hand, even if you know you have the flexibility to reach the ground, give yourself a little lift. Engage these side muscles, these obliques a little bit to give you some lift. I'm pressing the bottom hand into the leg for leverage to keep this left shoulder back instead of hunching forward, which is like naturally where the body will default to. Strong in the legs, like I'm so active in the legs, the knees actually lifted. And a deep breath in here. And exhale, bend in the right knee, hands come down to frame the front foot like a runner's lunge. Walk the hands towards the long end of the mat and shift the right toes to face the long end of the mat too. So I've just lifted off this back heel. So it'll look like runner's lunge, and then I'm on tiptoes, pivot on the toe ball mound. So I'm going to side squat, but with a toe stand. So we've been working on this. We've been like stretching out the toes and all that jazz. All right, so if you're here, you might turn this left leg foot towards the sky. That might just feel better on your hip, feels better on mine. Get a nice like inner groin, hip flexor stretch. And then to play with the balance here, see if you can drop your knee so that the thigh is parallel to the ground. So that's just like a little trick. Because right now it's probably pulling in towards the chest. Just let it come down parallel to the ground. I'm sitting on my heel. And then to push it a little bit further, you can use your hands to come onto the thigh. Or even play with hands at heart center. Up overhead. And just reset accordingly if you fall out. It's called Skandasana. Or it's a variation of Skandasana. There's like a lot of them. But today let's play with a little balance. So I missed you guys on the new moon. I really did. So we're doing our moon salutations today. Are we going to move it to a center squat? So I pull this other leg in a bit, and I shift to center, pivot the heel, and touch it down. Then I'm just trying to get both of my feet more or less, the toes are facing forward. So they're not perfectly parallel to just get a dog to sit on your foot. It's perfect. They'll hold you in place. So my feet aren't perfectly parallel to one another, but they are not pointing out all the way. They're pointing forward as much as they can. My heels are touching the ground. If your heels are not touching the ground, you can place a towel or a rolled up yoga mat underneath your heels so you have something to press into because you do want to send the weight back. Now, You want to drop your elbows to the inside of the knees and then press your hands together. So I'm opening up my knees. Do this. I'm like invisible. Okay. I feel like this will be better for you guys to actually see what I'm talking about since I'm just like completely blocked out. Okay, so that looks super ugly, but it's fine. More important for you guys. You can see what I'm doing. So, there we are, hands in the middle, and then I'm using the leverage of my hands together to open up the knees. That might mean you shift the feet out a little bit more just to get the spacing right. And I'm working towards getting my hips heavy so that my chest can come up over my hips. So if I was up against a wall, it would be like I'm trying to get my head, my upper back, and my hips to touch the wall at the same time. So how do you do that? Heavy hips. It's like a seesaw. Your head's here. What you want is your hips to press forward so your head can come up. All right, we've been here long enough. Drop your hands to frame the left foot towards the back of your mat. Extend the right leg behind you. Left knee over left ankle. Runner's lunge. Hands come to the inside of the left foot. Drop the right heel down so the toes are facing alongside the mat. Right arm sweeps open to the sky, stacking on top of left arm. And then power press through the left leg to straighten it out. So we're coming into Vrksasana triangle pose, but from the other side. So there's that lifted type feeling that I was mentioning before. Not falling. Right? So lifting towards the sky. The bottom arm is pressing into the leg, leveraging that right shoulder open, keeping the chest open. Full breath here. And through Warrior 2, bending in that knee, we'll open up the other foot through Star and Goddess. Bending in the knees, bending the elbows. Full breath here. Then toes face forward, standing back nice and tall. All right, so let's even it out with the other side. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Fingers interlace. Then change the interlace of the hands. So if your right finger is on top, bring your left finger on top. So it's goofy grip, creating new pathways in your brain. You literally spent the entire day just turning on all the lights in your house or opening all the doorknobs with your left hand instead of your right if you are right-handed. It's really good for your brain. So here we are, arms up by the sides, index fingers released. We're giving a little tug to the lower back. Naturally wants to sway. Just lengthen it, kind of lessening that S curve. Deep breath in. And exhale, bend over to the left. Keeping the left shoulder pressed forward, right shoulder pressed back, chest open. Whole side body opening here. Legs are strong too. The left knee might want to bend, but we're keeping it strong. We're pressing the heels into the ground as well. Got another breath here. Back up through center. Check in with the lower back that it's long. And exhale over to the right. Hips press open to the left. Chest is open, the bottom shoulder's pressing forward. Arms are strong, legs are strong, breath is strongest. Back up through center. We'll open the arms and the legs nice and wide for star pose. Heels in, toes out, thumbs towards the sky, fingers spread wide, reaching, deep breath in. And exhale, Goddess, bending in the knees, bending in the elbows, Devyasana. Just breathing fully here. Just really sink in the hips, squeezing the glutes because we're keeping the knees over the ankles or close to it. The only way to do that is to really open up the hips. Then, straighten out the right leg, left knee over left ankle. Both legs straighten out. Pop the hips open to the right and reach the arms to the left. Like you're gonna touch the wall with this extended arm. Left hand drops, right arm reaches towards the sky, stacking on top of one another. Bottom hands pressing into the leg, leveraging the chest open. For Vrksasana, triangle pose. It's like you're between two panes of glass and you're trying to get as flat as possible. So the hips and the chest are parallel to that long side wall. Lifted type feeling. Like imagine what it would feel like for a friend to be pulling your arm up towards the sky. Then bend in the left knee, hands come down to frame the left foot runner's lunge. Coming up onto the toe ball mound of the left foot, pivot the knee towards the long edge of the mat. Yeah. Maybe the extended leg, toes rise to the sky. You might have to change the distance too, like to see what works for you. I'm sitting on my heel, working towards getting my thigh parallel to the ground. This is a half yogi toe stand. Hands come onto the thigh. If you want to play with that balance, you can also just do one at a time, or keep the hands on the ground but closer to your body, walking them in towards getting the shoulders over the hips. So we stack body parts in our balancing positions so that we're not just using brute strength, we're actually using gravity and counterweights to balance in these poses. So you can really press that extended leg heel into the ground to kind of like leverage how much stretch you want inside that inner hip, inner thigh. One more breath here in Skandasana. And moving into Malasana, deep squat in the center. So we'll pull that right leg in a bit and shift the weight to center, dropping onto this left heel. And I like bringing my feet towards parallel. Elbows press into the knees, and I use that opening of the hips to bring my chest up over my hips. And give a little rock side to side. So deep squats are one of the best movements you can do for your body. Just like primally humans have been in this position for so many different activities throughout history and our evolution. And it's not something that we get to like supernaturally do here in the United States, so highly recommend working on your deep squat. It's great for your digestive system. Your hips are literally what connect the top half of your body to the bottom half of your body, so if you want to be functioning later on in life, they're keeping them well lubricated with synovial fluid and strong in all the supporting muscles is going to be key to that. So got one more breath here in this deep squat. And then hands come down to frame the right foot. So we're facing towards the front of the mat again into a runner's lunge. So extend that left leg back behind you. Right knee over right ankle. Hands come to the inside of the right foot. Drop the left heel down to the mat. Toes are facing the long end of the mat. And left arm sweeps open towards the sky. So it's like an extended side angle. But then we power press through the bottom leg, through that right leg to extend it, coming up to Vrksasana just the backwards way. So we're using the back of the right hand to press into that calf muscle, leveraging the left shoulder open towards the sky, and squeezing in the muscles in the legs. So my knees are like lifted, like locked in place, not hyperextending into the stretch, but being strong into place. And you might only be able to hold that for like half a breath, like an inhale or an exhale. We're just attempting anyway, so we can build up that endurance. So maybe next time it's a full inhale and exhale. Maybe next time it's a full 10 seconds or 30 seconds. And we just slowly build up that endurance to stabilize our joints, pose by pose, practice by practice. Bend in the right knee, back through warrior 2, just as a transition, because we're opening up the left toes, star, into goddess. Last one of class. Full breath in here, and out. Extend through star, toes face forward, hands and feet step together. And exhale, releasing the arms down. Take a deep breath in through the nose, and side out. Beautiful. So, today, let's bring the hands onto the hips. Right knee opens out to the side, pivoting on the toes. And drag the foot in towards the ankle for our tree pose, Vrksasana. We'll begin to drag that foot up to the calf or the inner thigh, avoiding the knee. I know, the arch of the foot and the knee fit perfectly together, and they're like a perfect recipe to tear your ACL. So we're not doing it, maybe not the first time, maybe not the 100th time. We're just avoiding it at all costs. Wherever the foot lands on the leg, we're squeezing together. How do we squeeze that? Together, the hips press forward, squeezing in the glutes to get that press forward, hip tuck we've been working on, and the knees opening out to the side. So as the knees open and the hips are pressed forward, there's pressure and tension created between foot and leg, which, like I said, we're using tension, we're using pressure to our advantage in these postures. So if you've been playing with tree pose for a while, if you've been working on it with me all year, geez, here we are, it's February, or if you want to find out like what you can play with next, we can try a half lotus tree pose. So wherever you're at and you're feeling good and you're already working hard, it's perfect, it's exactly where you need to be. Otherwise, give a little bend to the standing leg to grab the foot. So have a little bend in the standing leg, it's like a little free. I'm gonna bring the heel right up to that little like bikini line edge of like inner thigh up towards my hip. Then that's the fulcrum where the heel and like the edge of like your groin meet your hip, and the knee presses down and back. This leg straightens, hips are pressing forward. So my hips are pressing forward just like before, my knee is pressing back. It's creating the tension between my foot and my leg. But instead of it being the inside of my foot with my inner thigh, it's the pinky side edge of my foot with my quadricep, my front leg muscle. Pressing forward. It's okay if you have to hold onto your leg or your foot at first in this position. So it's Ardha, Padma, Vrksasana, half lotus, tree pose. And if you're like falling out your hot mess right now, if you're getting back in, you win. Like just resetting, it's great. I've like fallen so many times in class already today. Just like learn how to fall with ease, grace. Just laugh at yourself too, because it's good for you. Alright, so we're gonna release just the way we came in. So avoiding the big like snap out or fall out, just want to float the foot down. And then you can just notice there's like this tendency to want to shake out this left leg as soon as possible because the standing leg has been holding all this tension. We just give it a moment to pass. And then ask, okay, is there more movement that I want to, like do I actually need to shake it out? And then go ahead and do so if necessary. Standing right leg, left knee opens out to the side, and drag the foot in towards the ankle. And then we'll drag that up to the calf or the inner thigh. You could also stay on the ankle edge and just work on lifting the toes just a little bit more and more off the ground. So the important thing here is we're pressing the hips forward, we're pressing the knee open. And an option here to come into half lotus on the other side. So all the same rules kind of apply, except if instead of it's a press in towards center, it's a counter press forward and back. So to play with this half lotus version, we're bending in the right knee, just a little bit. A little bend in the knee is going to give you a little more space to wobble and move around without falling over. So grab the foot and bring the pinky side edge up towards that bikini line where the groin meets the leg. Then as we straighten out the bottom leg, we press this left knee back. That's creating this push up against the thigh, up against the foot. Gracias, Eddie. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. Alright, so we're pressing the hips forward, we're pressing the knee back. Crown of the head still nice and tall. Like I said, it's okay to hold onto the foot for that. Otherwise, the arms are kind of free to do whatever. Just the more you move, like, momentum is not super your friend here. If you create any momentum, you're going to have to counterbalance that directional momentum. So it's best to move like you're moving through honey, or find a place of stillness, because the truth is that your body is never in stillness. As long as you're alive and breathing, your heart's pumping, your blood's flowing, you're digesting. Like, there's like a lot of movement always going on in our bodies, even when we are quote-unquote still. So that's what we're always kind of adjusting and readjusting for. Our feet are constantly adjusting and readjusting to compensate for those changes. So if we add a bunch of like bird flap craziness, it's just gonna like further add disruption and work to the process, which is fine and it's fun. But if you're just learning to get into tree pose, it can become incredibly frustrating and actually work against yourself. So we're just gonna release this nice and slow with control. If you just fell out of it, it's okay. It's all right. There's always tomorrow. We're giving it a moment just to notice. What's that urge to shake it off? What's that urge to release tension? And then we're going to go ahead and do that with our lymphatic shaking. So beginning to bring a bounce to the body. So I just like lifting my shoulders and letting them drop hard. That like starts like the shake in my arms. And I'll lift the heels up and let them slam down. The knees are nice and bent. Or bring a whole jump to it. So the whole top body is just like totally floppy, totally relaxed, just flopping around. And the legs just keep going with a bounce. So lymphatic shaking is good for releasing tension, draining the lymphatic system. It's like a lot of our bodies are liquid, so imagine there's all these streams and estuaries and rivers and all that good stuff. But in stillness, like in the fall, imagine, leaves and twigs and silt clog up some of those streams. Beavers create dams, and suddenly the flow of all that liquid isn't quite moving to its highest efficiency. So this is just kind of a way to kind of like flush through those unaddressed parts to get the water flowing through those waterways once more. And once you don't feel like doing this anymore, just double time. Take up space, breathing in and out through the mouth. Audible sighs and whatever noises also welcome at this point. All right, we're gonna come into our breath of joy. It's a 4-part breath, and it looks like this. A third, it's an inhale, a third of your lung capacity as the arms sweep forward. Another inhale, third of your lung capacity, arms sweep out. And last third, so the full extent of your lung capacity, arms sweep forward. And a giant ha, arms sweep back. It's like a big, nice yell, just like fucking release it, you know? All right, so we've got 10 of these babies, so. In through the nose, no exhales in between the inhales. It's in, ha. So, in, ha, in, In. Ha! 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 3 more. If you haven't joined in yet, now's your chance. Ha! Ha! Last one, make it count. Ha! Land a hand on your belly, a hand on your heart, eyes can close, feet nice and wide, stable stance. Let's just take a moment here to observe what was created. Perhaps a raise in body temperature, a rise in heart rate, but what else? What comes up when you let yourself take up space, physically and audibly? Or what fear shows up, what resistance shows up to stop you from going all out? And is it the same fear that showed up, or the same resistance that showed up last time you held back? And gently blink your eyes open. Grab a sip of water. Towel off. You got a little sweaty. And if you're on the ground, just stay there. I'll meet you down there. If you're standing, you can come down with me. Did that work? It didn't work. Cool. So standing at the back of the mat, inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, bend in the knees deep, 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 so deep that you come to seated. You can use your hands so you don't break your tailbone. Good work. All right. So, seated with the feet out in front, we're just going to scooch the booty forward a bit so all that fleshy fabulousness gets left behind you and your sit bones are close to the ground. Hands come behind the knees. And inhale, the chest presses forward, belly pressing against the thighs. We're going to tilt it back until you feel you hit your tailbone. So you have 3 points of contact, left and right sits bones and your tailbone, tripod. Shins raise up towards being parallel to the ground. This is called Ardha Navasana, upward facing boat pose. Right? Look floating, super cute, you can paddle. As soon as your back rounds, just to reset, you're squeezing the shoulder blades together. Deep breath in. And on the exhale, release the hands. Inhale, just sustaining here. And exhale, open up the angle of the hips a bit, extending the legs a little longer. Inhale to sustain. And exhale, open up that angle a bit more. I find it easier to begin to straighten my legs out at this point. Inhale, sustains you at this point. Exhale, open up the angle just a bit more. Inhale, sustain. Exhale, almost to the ground, hollow body. Just all of this is strong. We're still breathing in. And exhale, release. Full body stretch. You can hug the knees in, giving yourself a little rock side to side. And release the feet onto the mat, heels coming close towards the body, feet parallel to one another, maybe hips distance apart. Hands are down by the sides, fingertips just grazing the heels. And we're coming into our Setu Bandhasana, our bridge pose. So I'm lengthening in my lower back's pressed into the ground, and then just begin to peel the hips, lower back, middle back, and upper back up off the ground. Tuck your shoulders under, and maybe the fingers interlace below the hips, below the legs. So I'm pressing my fist into the ground. Even if the fingers don't interlace, you're just letting your triceps and shoulders carry some of the weight so it's not all in your neck. Squeezing through the glutes, squeezing through the legs to lift the hips even higher. Breathing so fully you can see your belly rise and fall past the tip of your nose. One last deep breath in here, fullest expression of the pose. And like pressing rewind, unlace the fingers, untuck the shoulders, and roll the body down one vertebra at a time until the hips touch down. Knees come in towards the chest, and we'll release the knees over to the right. Left hand comes to land on top of the, right hand comes to land on top of the left knee, and left arm opens up like the letter T. Palm face towards the sky. I'm pressing the shoulder down towards the ground. So left shoulder blades pressing down towards the ground. Otherwise, everything's totally relaxed. Doesn't matter if your knees touch one another or the ground. And you can even look over that left shoulder past the hand to give the neck a twist, the full body spinal twist. Supta Matsyendrasana. Head comes back up through center, knees come up through center, and we'll release the knees over to the left. Right arm opens up like the letter T, palm face open. That just helps keep the pectoral muscles, the chest open, the shoulder open. And I'm pressing the right shoulder towards the ground. Everything else is completely passive, just letting gravity do the work. Bring the head up through center, knees up through center, and just notice, is there any last movement or wiggle or stretch that your body's asking for that would round out your practice, that would make you feel like a satisfied experience in the body? So all class, all day, we tell our body what to do, and now just a moment to ask back, is there anything you can do back for it? It doesn't have to have like a fancy yoga name or anything. It can really be whatever is going to work for you in your body. Just still rolling through those last few stretches as we begin to prepare for Savasana, final relaxation pose. So for this final meditation, it's like laying with the legs down, extended the length of the mat, feet at least a foot apart, shoulders tuck under and arms released down by the sides, palms face open, a symbol, a mudra of receptivity, allowing yourself to receive the full benefits of your effort here today. If your lower back gives you issues laying flat on your back like this, you can always Bring the feet flat onto the ground to the outer edges of the mat and allow the knees to knock together in broken bridge. So I'm not using any muscle strength at all for this posture. I'm just letting the knees knock together. It's completely passive. Then I can tuck the hips under and elongate my lumbar spine. So there's no arch in my lower back. If anything, my lower back is basically in contact with the ground below me. That's going to relieve that tension for you. Otherwise, flat on your back is just great. Head is neutral, eyes closed, or there's a soft gaze towards the sky. Not looking at anything in particular. I'm going to come up to seated just so that I can more easily guide you through this meditation. All right. I love your dog. It looks like Lassie. She's a husky, actually, so she's more like Balto, but yeah, she's a cutie. I'm just borrowing her for the first half of February. She's not my dog. She's just a wolf that wandered into my home. Alright, so. Good morning, Anaskabawa. Good morning, Bodhi. Good morning, love. So you're all just in time for Savasana, our final relaxation pose. I'm sure a few of you are already here. So once you've found that nice comfortable seat, we'll begin this practice just as we started the last one with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And allow the breathing to continue in and out through the nose if that's available. Inviting your exhalations to become longer and deeper than your inhalations. Invite space between top and bottom teeth as the jaw hangs heavy and the tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth, a symbol mudra of Chitta Vritti, monkey mind. Just letting him take a seat on the shelf for this practice. As all the muscles in the jaw and lips relax. Nose and nostrils relax, allowing breath to gently flow through like waves lapping up to shore. Eyes rest heavy in their sockets, eyelids just barely touching. The space between the eyebrows broadens as all the muscles in the forehead relax. And all the muscles surrounding the ears with their folds and wrinkles into the ear canals rest. And the back of the head and muscles on the top of the head all relax as well. Throat and neck release. Shoulders melt away. As does the space between the shoulder blades and the scapula, shoulder blades themselves. Upper arms and elbows relax. Forearms and wrists release. Palms of the hands, backs of the hands, knuckles, fingers, fingertips. Whole hands alive with vibration. Whole hands alive with creative potential. Rest and integrate all that you practice. Upper back, middle, and lower back. Rest heavy, supported by the ground below. Chest gently rising and falling with the breath, perhaps imperceptibly. Belly rising and falling with the breath. Pelvis, glutes, hips, rest heavy, supported by the earth below. Thighs and knees melt away. Lower legs and ankles relax. Heels, arches, toe ball mounds, tops of the feet and toes all rest. Whole body resting. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Allow for everything that did and did not happen in class today. And know that in yoga, practice always makes practice. Nothing more and nothing less. Allow your inhalations to become deeper and longer than your exhalations. And that feeling of heaviness and sinking, replace the feeling of openness and expansion as awareness lifts to the surface front side of the body. Fingers begin to wiggle and the toes. Head can gently rock side to side. As arms reach up overhead for a full body stretch. And let the knees bend and roll over to whichever side feels natural, landing in a fetal position. You can use that bottom arm as a pillow. Fully released and fully supported by the ground below you, bring to mind any intention or dedication you set for class today, or take this opportunity to set an intention now.
And if that intention inspires you, take it with you off the mat and into the world. Allow it to affect you and the people around you for the rest of your day. With eyes still closed or gently lowered, press your hands into the ground to come up to a seated position, just like how we started class. Hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra. Today we practice a series of Chandra Namaskar, moon salutations, for the recent new moon, or Aquarius new moon for 2021. The first namaste is said silently to yourself, thanking your body for the effort it put into class. And the second namaste is said out loud to one another and everyone that held this energetic space for practice. Namaste. Thank you to everyone who joined me this, my morning. I know it's not all of your mornings, but this practice, it's really good to be back. I really effing missed you guys and this morning practice. So, yeah, I think tomorrow we're going to have another weird setup like this kind of thing. It's like a hot mess, I know, but Monday I'll be back to having like a studio space. Namaste, my love. Thank you, Bodhi. But yeah, back in the swing of things, so I'm around to answer all of your yoga, meditation, and philosophy questions to the best of my ability, and probably with some bias, but you know, I am around and I do really enjoy and appreciate you all, and the ones of you who've been reaching out in private for a little guidance. I hope that what I offered has been helpful, and I hope that everyone who joined today finds something of value from this practice, whether it's the centering in the beginning, the Savasana, it's like an adult sanctioned nap at the end, or in the movement or shaking, whatever it is that you feel is serving you. I'm grateful that that's so. I want to keep doing that and do more of that for you all. And I appreciate you. You keep me accountable. All right. So, I don't know if it's supposed to rain, but I think I'm going to go for a run. Finally not in 35-degree weather. So, I love you all. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. I'll see you all there. I appreciate you very much. Oh, and I appreciate all of you who've been sending me tips as well. It makes a really big difference in my life as a yoga teacher artist on this planet. It's never ever mandatory or expected, but always appreciated. Helps me pay my electric bills and the internet bill, which is really awesome. And that's just at Venmo at my first and last name. Thank you, Bodhi, for dropping that in the chat. You're the best. And or through PayPal. Venmo's better because they don't charge me for the transaction, but really it's good either way. Glassy, you were with us this morning too. That's awesome. Much love. Namaste, my friend. Yeah. All right. Much love from me to you guys. On that high note, we had a pretty, we had the Oya, Hydrangea, Ethereal, Bodhi, Glassy Momo, like trifecta in stream. Anaskabawa, do I know you? Thanks for dropping in. I hope you enjoyed class. All right. I'll talk to you all later. I love you guys.